Hey mobile developers! In the last video we talked about the business requirements and we aligned with the product team on what needs to be done in our activity indicator feature. But we did not agree on one important thing, the user interface and how this activity indicator or the last updated timestamp needs to look in our application. So today we're going to try to fix that and align with the product team as well on how the app needs to look. First, let's see our application running. So we can see the International Space Station and it's going through the South Pacific Ocean at the moment. And as you can see, we do not realize when the application is updating the ISS position. There's nothing indicating that the International Space Station is moving or changing position. It may seem to the users that the application is stuck or that something is wrong. So after talking to the PO, he says that there is not going to be any designs for this feature. Either the design team is really busy with something else, or there is not a designer in your team because it's a small team. Usually you can find a designer in a really big team, but sometimes when it's a really small team and the feature is super small, it's not worth to wait for a designer to come up with some UI, and it could be better if you come up with a solution yourself. So in this case, we agreed with the product owner that we're going to come up with a design and we're going to add them to the user story. So in my experience, the best way you can mock user interfaces is by going to your favorite IDE. In my case, I'm going to use Xcode, and just mock the user interface directly from within your project. So here we have our ISS tracker view controller, which is the view controller that displays the International Space Station over Google Maps. And we are not using a zip file to present our user interface. Instead, we are loading everything from code. So in our load view method, we can see that we are setting the Google Maps view as our main view. And also our settings button is added by code, so we can do the same to mock our activity indicator and our last updated label. So we could temporarily add a add activity indicator view method and call it in our video load and run the application again. And there we have the activity indicator displayed under the ISS tracker title. Our method is instantiating an UI activity indicator view. It's adding the activity indicator as a subview of the main view. It's shutting down the authorizing mask constraints, setting the top anchor to the top anchor of the main view as well. And then we just start animating. So this is a fast way of showing our design proposals to the product team. You can even take a screenshot of your simulator to add it later to the user story. And we could do the same with the last updated label. So I'm going to add another little method here. So we are instantiating a UI label. We're adding the text that we want to display and to agree on a text format with the product team. We are setting the font to bold. Again, we are adding the subview to the main view, and we are setting the same constraints as with the activity indicator view. So the only thing we need to do here is call the method. We are gonna comment out the activity indicator just to display the error label view. Run the application again. And then we have our last update label displayed when there was an error updating the International Space Station. Again, we're going to take a screenshot of this and we're going to set up a meeting to show it to the product team. The outcome is most likely that they will like it and they will say, let's go ahead with it. Because first, there is no design team, so there's no other designer that is going to come up with any other user interface. And they will also like that you moved aside from the developer role for like 5 seconds and you put on the designer role. And that's going to make you even more important because now not only you can implement things, but you can also propose user interfaces to new features. So let's go ahead and add these screenshots to the user story. And now let's add the other screenshot to the set path, which is the last updated label. And there we have it as well. So that's it for today. To summarize, if there is no design team, there is no designer. You as a developer can come up with a mocked user interface using your favorite IDE or your favorite user interface tool, and you can present it to the product team to agree on how the feature is going to look. Very important to mock every single use case so that there is no assumptions. And remember that doing this is going to help you grow. Now, not only you can implement things, test, develop, but you can participate in the creation of the user interface. So you became even more valuable for the project. So I hope that these little tips helped. See you in the next one.